I'm tired. Maybe tomorrow. It's not my day. I can't catch a break. I'll never be rich. People like me don't win. I'm unlucky. I'm behind. I'm stuck. It's too late. I don't know what to do. Be honest. Have you ever said that? Have you ever whispered those words to yourself before the day even began? Because that is how most people start their lives. Defeated before sunrise, slaves to sentences that destroy them. 11 quiet thoughts repeated until they become truth. 11 invisible chains that bind the mind and command failure to appear. Say them long enough and life will obey. But I will never tell you to repeat such poison. Instead, I will hand you 11 sentences that have built fortunes, restored faith, and awakened the sleeping power within more men than I can count. But before I reveal them, you must understand why they work, why a few simple sentences can move the machinery of fate itself, why every word you utter in the silence of morning becomes a seed planted in the soil of your subconscious, and why that soil does not care what you plant, only that you repeat it until it takes root. You see, every day you are programming your destiny. You are either commanding infinite intelligence or feeding the devil of doubt. You are either constructing thought into reality or destroying yourself with carelessness of speech. The sentences I will soon give you are not affirmations. They are orders. They are mental blueprints drawn from the same law that lifted Ford from poverty, guided Edison through thousands of failures, and opened doors for every man who learned to speak as if he already possessed that which he desired. But one of these 11 sentences will not come from me. It must come from you, because no man can borrow another's purpose. The first 10 will give you power, but the 11th will give you identity. So listen closely. Before I show you the 11 sentences that make miracles, I must teach you the law that gives them power, how thought becomes thing, how faith turns sound into substance, and how one morning's declaration can reshape an entire lifetime. Intro, the law behind the sentences. Every morning as you open your eyes, you speak your destiny into motion. Your first words are the architects of the day that follows. Whether you mutter them in faith or in fear, the mind records them as orders. The world, indifferent and exact, merely obeys. For speech is not idle sound, it is the vibration of thought clothed in command. Man was given dominion over his world through the power of his word. Yet few exercise this divine right. They speak of defeat and call it honesty. They confess limitation and call it realism. They describe misfortune and call it wisdom. But every careless sentence becomes a silent decree to the subconscious mind, which accepts it as law and begins to shape conditions to match it. Understand this truth. There are no idle words. Every statement, every whisper, every declaration leaves its mark upon the invisible fabric of your mind. The subconscious does not reason, it obeys. It does not laugh at your sarcasm nor pity your despair. It simply takes your speech as a blueprint and builds from it brick upon brick, event upon event. Thus, most men begin their day as failures long before they leave their beds. They murmur of weariness, of frustration, of being behind. They affirm defeat before the battle begins. Each complaint is a prayer to the God of failure, each sigh a confession of weakness. And life, obedient as a servant to its master, delivers exactly what has been ordered. If you would rise above the masses, you must learn the law they ignore. Thoughts are things, and words are the bridge between thought and creation. The sound you produce is the motion of your thought taking form. The moment you speak with belief, you give direction to the unseen forces that mold your destiny. This law is not mystical, it is mechanical. Every repetition engraves belief. Every emotional word impresses the subconscious deeper than reason. The mind is a fertile field. It will grow whatever seed is sown. Whether you plant wheat or weeds matters not. The soil will not question your wisdom. It will bring forth in abundance whatever you repeat with feeling. Edison once declared he would produce light from electricity when the world mocked him. That declaration became the spark that guided 10,000 experiments until success was born. Abraham Lincoln, facing a torn nation, whispered to himself, I shall preserve the Union. That single decree fortified him through failure, ridicule, and bloodshed. Great men always speak their destiny before they see it. Faith without speech is stillborn. Speech without faith is hollow. But when the two unite, they command creation itself. The spoken word, fused with belief, is the mightiest power known to man. For every law of success, every fortune ever built, every discovery ever made began first as a declaration, spoken with conviction and obeyed by the universe. The sentences I shall soon give you are not affirmations to be memorized like a child's rhyme. They are mental blueprints. They are orders issued from your conscious mind to your inner world, which in turn moves the outer world to comply. Speak them not lightly. Speak them as a king commands his kingdom, for your mind is your dominion. You must learn the sacred rhythm of the morning. The first hour after waking is the seed time of the day. What you plant in thought then will determine what you reap and experience by nightfall. If you begin with gratitude, power, and purpose, the day must bend to your will. If you begin in complaint, confusion, and doubt, the day will mirror that disorder. Therefore, I urge you, before you face the world, face yourself. Command your mind before the world commands it for you. The man who rules his morning rules his life. You may save 10, 20, even 30 years of wandering and defeat if you but master this single habit, to speak deliberately, to think with purpose, to affirm the law instead of your weakness. Now prepare yourself. What follows are the sentences that will build your fortune, restore your faith, and quicken your power. Each one is a key that unlocks a greater chamber of your potential. Use them faithfully, and you shall not merely improve your days, you shall transform your entire destiny. Now let us begin with the first sentence, the one that opens the gates of gratitude, energy, and command over the day. 1. This is the best day of my life. Each dawn carries within it the seed of a new world, yet most men rise as if condemned to another sentence of labor and monotony. They drag yesterday's failures into today's sunrise and call it reality. But the wise man rises and declares with conviction, "This is the best day of my life." With that sentence, he commands his mind to look for excellence instead of excuses, power instead of pity, victory instead of victimhood. Gratitude is the first movement of faith. It is the spark that awakens the sleeping forces within man. When you give thanks before receiving, you declare mastery over time. You claim your good as already yours. No man begins in defeat who begins in gratitude, for gratitude is not a reaction, it is creation. It is the language of kings who rule their minds before they rule empires. When I say, "This is the best day of my life," I am not describing what I see, I am determining what I shall see. For the mind is a loyal servant, and it obeys the master's tone. If you command it to find good, it will comb the hours to uncover blessing after blessing. But if you instruct it to look for trouble, it will oblige you just as faithfully. You choose the evidence by the decree you make. Each morning's emotion becomes the pattern of the day that follows. The man who rises with expectancy walks into opportunity that others overlook. The man who rises in complaint steps into proof that life is cruel. It is not chance that divides them, but the tone of their first thought upon waking. Therefore, discipline your first thought as a soldier guards the gates of a fortress. Henry Ford, in the dim light of early mornings, once walked the floors of his workshop when his pockets were empty and his name unknown. He faced ridicule, failure, and starvation of the spirit. Yet each day he whispered, "I will build a motor for the multitudes." Those words, spoken in faith, were more powerful than his lack of capital, education, or support. The world would later call him a genius, but he was first a believer, one who greeted each day as the day his vision might come true. Man cannot see opportunity unless he expects it. The eyes of faith reveal pathways invisible to doubt. Gratitude sharpens sight. Complaint blinds it. For complaint is the voice of fear, and fear narrows the mind until it sees only limitation. Gratitude, on the other hand, widens the field of vision until abundance fills every horizon. When you bless what you have, it multiplies. When you curse it, it vanishes. Repeat after me. I begin this day with gratitude, and gratitude multiplies all it touches. Let this be the first sound that falls from your lips. Say it slowly. Say it as though your soul itself were speaking. Feel it swell within your chest until emotion takes the throne of your thought. For faith without emotion is lifeless, and emotion without direction is chaos. But when emotion is guided by a definite idea, it becomes creation. To the drifter, this practice will seem foolish. He will say, "What difference can a sentence make?" But look closely at his life, and you will see the harvest of his own words, fields of complaint, weeds of self-pity, barren soil where hope once grew. The Creator gave man dominion through the spoken word, and he uses that gift either to build or destroy. Every utterance is a hammer shaping the unseen substance of his future. You must feel gratitude as an act of power, not politeness. Gratitude affirms the intelligence of life itself, the invisible order that arranges circumstances for the faithful. When you say, "This is the best day of my life," you are telling infinite intelligence that you are ready to receive its gifts, and like a loyal servant, it hastens to fulfill your belief. Consider the mind as a lens. Gratitude cleanses it of dust and distortion. Complaint clouds it until even blessings appear burdensome. Two men can walk through the same day. One sees miracles, the other misfortune. Their circumstances are equal, only their mental attitude differs. The grateful man drinks nectar from every hour, while the ungrateful one finds poison in every cup. Your tone determines your triumph. Speak with conviction, and your words become command. Speak with doubt, and they dissolve before they reach the heart. Each morning is a sacred ceremony in which you set the direction of your fate. The tongue trains the heart instructs the subconscious. The subconscious moves the forces of life. Thus, gratitude is not emotion, it is architecture. Let this become your first habit. Before your feet touch the floor, affirm the greatness of the coming day. Do not wait for evidence. The evidence will appear only after the decree is made. Faith always precedes proof. You must believe before you see, not because you are naive, but because this is the law that governs creation. Those who demand to see first remain spectators. Those who believe first become builders. There is a subtle power in repetition. Each morning that you declare, "This is the best day of my life," you engrave faith deeper into your consciousness. Eventually it ceases to be mere words and becomes identity. You will rise with energy that surprises you, act with confidence that seems supernatural, and attract circumstances that echo your belief. You will no longer be a man reacting to the world. You will be a man commanding it. Let me remind you of a truth. Every great victory begins with an inward affirmation. The battle of belief is always won before a single step is taken. When you affirm the greatness of your day, you are declaring victory before the first challenge arises. You are telling your mind, "I have already conquered this day. Now I go forth to claim the evidence." Do not measure the worth of this practice by one morning's result. Seeds take time to grow. Continue for 30 days, and you will feel the difference. Continue for 90, and you will become the difference. Men will sense something about you, a calm certainty, a quiet strength. That is the mark of one who has made gratitude his daily companion. Remember, the average man wakes to serve his moods. The extraordinary man commands them. When you speak this sentence, you dethrone chance and enthrone choice. You declare that you will no longer drift with the winds of circumstance. You rise as captain of the day's ship, steering with gratitude as your compass and expectation as your sail. Now take a deep breath and repeat it aloud. This is the best day of my life. Say it until your mind believes you. Say it until your heart answers with warmth. Say it until the world itself begins to echo your declaration through events, opportunities, and victories unseen before. For you have begun the day as creator, not creature. You have chosen the language of success instead of the dialect of doubt. You have affirmed that life, though imperfect, is obedient, and it will be. Speak thus each morning, and the day must obey. 2. Thoughts are things. I choose powerful thoughts. Everything that ever came into being first lived as a thought. Every invention, every empire, every fortune, every poem began as a single idea held long enough to take shape. Thoughts are things. They are not mist nor fantasy. They are the raw material of reality. The world you walk through each day is the residue of yesterday's thinking, your own and that of others. To alter circumstance, you must first alter the pattern of thought that made it. Man's mind is a workshop in which the unseen becomes the seen. Within it, imagination molds the substance of life. Faith gives it vitality, and persistence hardens it into form. You are forever building, whether you know it or not. If you think confusion, you build chaos. If you think power, you build achievement. There is no rest from this labor. Even in sleep, the mind continues to construct according to your dominant ideas. Understand this. Your thoughts are not private. They are commands issued to infinite intelligence, the great unseen architect that responds to all definite belief. You cannot think fear and expect courage. You cannot think lack and expect abundance. The subconscious obeys what is repeated, not what is intended. The only question, then, is whether you will be master of your thinking or a slave to it. When Edison sat in his laboratory surrounded by failed experiments, he did not think of defeat. He saw only the light that he knew must come. "I have not failed," he said. "I have found thousands of ways that will not work." That sentence was not humor. It was law. He was choosing the thought of victory instead of the illusion of failure. The result was inevitable. For a thought, once charged with emotion and persistence, cannot die. It seeks fulfillment until it is satisfied. Likewise, when Lincoln faced the storm of civil war, he held a single commanding thought: the Union must be preserved. That thought, repeated day and night, became the magnetic pole of his soul. Against doubt, fatigue, betrayal, and bloodshed, he clung to it until it took flesh in history. The weak may call it stubbornness. I call it mental mastery. You are the architect of your fate. Guard your thoughts as a banker guards his gold. Every word, every image, every idea that passes the gate of your mind shapes the foundation of your future. Do not let the thieves of fear and gossip steal from your treasury. Do not allow envy, hatred, or self-pity to occupy rooms meant for vision, faith, and purpose. Affirm this truth each morning. I think only thoughts that serve my definite purpose. Weak thoughts perish, strong thoughts prevail. Repeat it with conviction until your mind becomes a disciplined instrument, not a wandering beggar of impulses. For undirected thought is the playground of the devil. Directed thought is the workshop of God. Look around you, and you will see the evidence of this law. John D. Rockefeller built an empire not from oil alone, but from organized thought. Long before his wells poured wealth from the earth, he saw in his mind the structure of industry, efficiency, and order. He thought it, felt it, and lived it until the world conformed to his vision. The riches came as an afterthought. The idea came first. There is no such thing as mental idleness. Every man is thinking all the time, whether he knows it or not, but only a few think deliberately. Most drift from worry to distraction, from fear to fantasy, their minds like ships without rudders. They wonder why they are tossed by the winds of circumstance, never realizing they set the storm in motion by their own thought. To think consciously, constructively, is to seize the wheel of your fate. The mind, like soil, will grow whatever is planted. If you sow doubt, do not curse the harvest. If you sow faith, do not fear the season. Nature gives back in kind and in abundance. Therefore, be vigilant over your mental diet. The images you entertain are meals for the soul. Consume greatness, and greatness will strengthen you. Feed upon triviality, and you will grow small. You may say, but I cannot control what enters my mind. Then I tell you, you can control what remains. Thoughts knock. You choose which to house. When an unworthy thought enters, replace it instantly with its opposite. Say aloud, I think powerfully. I think constructively. I think as one destined for success in that moment, you seize command again. Repetition turns such replacements into reflex. When you understand that thought is substance, you will handle it with reverence. You would not throw stones into a delicate machine, yet men fling careless thoughts into the mechanism of their minds and wonder why it grinds in agony. Every negative reflection slows the engine of achievement. Every clear, noble idea oils it with harmony. The difference between failure and triumph often lies in the unspoken words a man thinks when alone. All riches, all glory, all peace of mind begin with the mastery of thought. The drifter blames his environment, his upbringing, his misfortune. But environment is the shadow of mind. Change your mental state and your surroundings will rearrange themselves to match it. This is not superstition, it is the mathematics of spirit. When you say, thoughts are things, I choose powerful thoughts, you declare sovereignty over the invisible kingdom within you. You proclaim that you will no longer permit idle speculation, self-doubt, or envy to govern your imagination. You assume the throne of your own consciousness, and from that high seat, you begin to decree the conditions of your life. Remember, all great men have lived in this truth. Edison thought light. Carnegie thought steel. Ford thought motion. Each refused to think impossibility. Each trained his mind to see only the vision until it became fact. Their power was not luck. It was the disciplined use of thought harnessed to a definite purpose. You must learn to think with feeling. Cold ideas have no life. Warm conviction makes them move. When you fill a thought with emotion, you breathe soul into it, and the universe begins to rearrange itself around your intention. This is why faith and emotion are inseparable from creation. To believe weakly is to think without power. To believe deeply is to command infinite intelligence itself. From this moment, walk through your day as a watchman of your inner world. When a thought of fear appears, replace it with faith. When a thought of envy rises, replace it with gratitude. When doubt whispers, reply with decision. This is the art of mental alchemy, transforming base metal of ordinary thinking into the gold of achievement. Say it again now, not as a phrase, but as a law. Thoughts are things. I choose powerful thoughts. Say it until you feel the truth pulsing through you. Imagine each word striking the anvil of your subconscious, forging a weapon of certainty. With every repetition, you build the mind that no adversity can overthrow. For thought directed with purpose is the most powerful force known to man. It shapes the invisible into the visible. It builds bridges from imagination to fact. It carves destiny from the marble of possibility. Therefore, choose your thoughts as you would choose the stones for the foundation of your temple. Strong, polished, and worthy of eternity. And now, having mastered the law of thought, you are prepared for the next command. The sentence that ignites the flame of desire, the starting point of all riches, the fire that compels life to obey. 3. My desire is definite, burning, and obeyed. All achievement begins with desire. Not the idle wishing of the weak, but a burning, definite hunger that consumes doubt and drives a man to action. The world belongs to the man who knows what he wants and demands it of life. Desire is the heartbeat of creation, the fire beneath every great accomplishment. Without it, Even genius lies dormant. With it, mediocrity ascends to greatness. There is a difference between wishing and wanting. The wishful man looks at success as a distant star, beautiful but unreachable. The man of burning desire claims it as his inheritance. His wish becomes a demand. His thought becomes command. The world moves aside for him because he has declared that he will not be denied. Such a man no longer begs of fortune, he directs it. Andrew Carnegie began as a poor boy in a steel mill, working 12 hours a day for mere pennies. Yet he possessed a desire so definite, so consuming, that it guided his every word and deed. He desired not merely to make steel, but to master it, to command its power and use it to build empires and men. That desire, burning like a furnace within him, attracted the minds, the money, and the methods that shaped his destiny. It was his obedience to that inner flame that made him a master of industry. The drifter, however, is a wanderer in his own mind. He wishes for one thing today and another tomorrow. His thoughts scatter like leaves in the wind. The universe, confused by his indecision, gives him nothing definite because he desires nothing definite. A man must fix his aim as the compass fixes north. The subconscious cannot obey conflicting orders. It answers only to the voice of unwavering intent. Repeat this declaration until it becomes your nature. My desire is definite, burning, and obeyed. Feel it rise from the core of your being, not as hope, but as law. Say it until the words vibrate with certainty. For desire is the seed of all creation, and every burning seed draws to itself the elements needed for growth. The man who desires half-heartedly reaps half-hearted results. The man who burns with purpose draws miracles to his side. Desire must be specific. Do not say, I want to be rich. Say, I will earn $100,000 by rendering a service so valuable that the world will gladly pay for it. The subconscious understands precision, not vagueness. Give it a definite image, a number, a purpose, and it will summon opportunities you never imagined. Life loves decisiveness. It obeys the man who knows exactly what he seeks. Charles M. Schwab was one such man. As a young steelworker under Carnegie, he radiated enthusiasm born of burning desire. He wanted to be the best in his trade, the leader of men, the builder of greatness. That intensity of purpose drew Carnegie's attention like a magnet. Before long, Schwab's desire placed him in command of thousands. His secret was simple. He wanted it more than anyone else, and his faith in that desire made him irresistible. Desire without action is delusion. The man who burns with purpose acts. He cannot remain still. Every fiber of his being strains toward the object of his vision. He studies, plans, labors, sacrifices, and persists because the fire within gives him no rest until his dream is real. This is the difference between those who live and those who merely exist. Desire is life demanding fuller expression. Some will say, but what if I fail? Failure is impossible to the man who refuses to stop. Every setback tests the sincerity of your desire. If it burns faintly, the first wind will extinguish it. If it burns fiercely, every obstacle becomes fuel. The world tests every great purpose to see if it is genuine. Those who pass this test by persistence inherit the prize. I tell you this, your desire must be so strong that it overpowers ridicule, discouragement, and delay. It must make you deaf to the laughter of mediocrity. Let others call you obsessed. Their comfort is your enemy. The great discoverers, inventors, and leaders of the world were all men accused of madness until success justified their passion. The fire of desire is sacred madness, divine in its power. Do not hide your desire under modesty or fear. To desire is not greed, it is divine expression. The Creator himself implanted desire in you as the means through which you may fulfill your purpose. To repress it is to deny the law of life. To express it boldly is to honor it. Speak your desire aloud each morning until it fills your being with energy and direction. What you affirm, you become. Affirm again. I demand of life the riches, position, and service I desire, and I shall not rest until they are mine. These words are not arrogance, they are alignment. Life yields only to those who claim dominion over it. The timid ask and wait. The bold command and receive. The universe respects strength of intent. It obeys definiteness of purpose. Understand this law. Your subconscious mind does not judge your desires. It only multiplies them. If you dwell on poverty, it multiplies lack. If you dwell on wealth, it multiplies opportunity. If you dwell on fear, it multiplies danger. If you dwell on faith, it multiplies power. Whatever you feed it, it will reproduce in kind. Therefore, make your desire the constant nourishment of your thought. Carry your chief desire with you always. Write it on paper. Keep it in your wallet, on your desk, beside your bed. Read it morning and night until it becomes a living presence within you. The more you define it, the more it defines you. And once you have written it clearly, never change it for another. The moment you do, you weaken the power of concentration. Choose once and commit utterly. Let your desire command your habits, your associations, your environment. Withdraw from every influence that contradicts it. Surround yourself with those who believe in your aim and speak faith into your ear. For desire feeds upon atmosphere. It grows strong among the confident and dies among the doubters. Choose your company as carefully as you choose your thoughts. There will come moments when the fire seems dim, when results delay, and fatigue whispers, surrender. That is the hour to repeat this sentence with greater force than ever. My desire is definite, burning, and obeyed. Let the sound of it drive despair from your heart. Each repetition rekindles the flame. Life itself bends to the man who refuses to cool his purpose. Let no man's disbelief infect you. The world will always mock the one who dares to desire greatly. Yet every mocker secretly envies the courage of your conviction. They would rather laugh at your faith than face their own fear. Do not waste a glance upon them. They will one day call you fortunate without ever understanding that fortune is simply faith made visible. The burning desire you now affirm is more than emotion. It is spiritual power in motion. Infinite intelligence answers only the definite, the decided, the determined. When your desire is clear, burning, and constant, the world rearranges itself to obey it. You will find resources where none appeared, ideas where none were sought, allies where once were strangers. This is the obedience of life to the man of purpose. Say once more, my desire is definite, burning, and obeyed. Feel its truth surge through you. Let the words shape your identity. You are no longer one who wishes. You are one who wills. You no longer hope. You decide. You no longer wait. You command. That is the language of creation, and the universe responds to no other. 4. I decide quickly and act now. Decision is the fulcrum upon which destiny turns. A single choice made with conviction can change the entire direction of a man's life. Indecision, on the other hand, is the breeding ground of failure. The world reserves its rewards for those who know their minds and move with purpose. Life does not wait for the hesitant. It marches past them and bows only to the decisive. Indecision is the offspring of fear. It is fear disguised as caution, fear cloaked in the garment of reason. The man who says, I must think it over, usually means, I am afraid to act. Yet opportunity has a short memory. It does not linger while you hesitate. It knocks once, and if you do not answer, it turns elsewhere. To delay is to deny yourself the reward already at your door. Observe the lives of all great achievers, and you will find that each was a man of swift and definite decision. They were not reckless, they were resolute. Henry Ford, when ridiculed for persisting with the Model T, long after critics demanded change, simply replied, "The people's car will remain until I say otherwise." That firmness of decision built an empire. The timid engineer, forever changing his mind, remains an employee. The man of decision becomes a master. Each time you postpone action, you weaken the muscle of faith. Each time you decide promptly and move, you strengthen it. Decision is spiritual exercise. Action is its proof. The man who decides quickly builds momentum, and momentum, once established, carries him through obstacles that paralyze slower minds. The difference between success and failure is often no more than a single hour of hesitation. Affirm aloud, I decide swiftly. My faith moves faster than fear. Say it until the words pulse with life. For every moment you spend wavering, fear gathers strength. The devil, if he exists anywhere, exists in indecision. He whispers, wait, tomorrow will be better, but tomorrow never comes for the man who listens to that voice. The successful man silences it by acting immediately, even if imperfectly. Action corrects mistakes. Hesitation multiplies them. Lincoln, faced with a divided nation, did not seek endless counsel before issuing the Emancipation Proclamation. He listened to the still small voice of his conscience and decided. That single act changed the course of history. It was not comfort that guided him, but conviction. His decision was not popular. It was right. Great men understand that indecision pleases everyone except destiny. The law is simple. Once you have a definite desire, act upon it at once. Thought, if not followed by motion, turns inward and decays. The subconscious mind requires demonstration. It believes not what you think, but what you do. Each act of faith reinforces the belief behind it. Each failure to act destroys confidence. Therefore, make the habit of immediate movement the cornerstone of your character. Begin small if you must. The moment you rise in the morning and declare your sentences, perform one task instantly. Any task that advances your day. It may be writing a letter, making a call, or completing a single promise long delayed. The act itself is less important than the discipline it creates. You are training your mind to associate decision with movement, not delay. Within weeks, you will find yourself executing plans that others only discuss. Remember, the world does not reward the man who knows what to do. It rewards the man who does it. Knowledge is potential power. Action is power in motion. Decision converts potential into reality. Every empire, every fortune, every scientific triumph began with one man saying, I will, and following it with immediate effort. If you wait for the perfect moment, you confess that you do not believe. Faith acts while others wait. Consider the builders of industry. Carnegie decided early to dominate steel. Edison decided to harness electricity. Ford decided to put the world on wheels. None of them possessed the perfect conditions at the start. They began in confusion, shortage, and ridicule, but they began. The timid waited for clarity and are still waiting. The decisive create clarity by moving. Action cures fear. Procrastination feeds it. The longer you dwell upon a decision, the more reasons your imagination will invent to justify inaction. The mind left idle breeds caution, and caution breeds paralysis. But once you move, energy returns, confidence awakens, and life aligns itself with your purpose. The stream flows toward those who step into it. It avoids those who merely stare at its current. Do not mistake deliberation for wisdom. Thought is valuable only when it leads to choice, and choice only when it leads to motion. To overthink is to sabotage your own advancement. The world belongs to those who can weigh a matter swiftly and then move without fear. For even an imperfect decision, boldly executed, brings more reward than a perfect decision never made. If you err, correct your course while in motion. A ship cannot be steered while anchored. It must be moving for the rudder to work. So it is with life. Act, observe, adjust, and act again. The man who waits for certainty waits forever. The man who dares learns, the man who learns grows, the man who grows conquers. Each morning as you affirm this sentence, imagine yourself as a commander giving orders to your troops. There must be no hesitation in your voice, no uncertainty in your tone. Speak the words as law. I decide quickly and act now. Each time you declare it, you are forging the habit of immediacy. You are teaching your subconscious that your words mean movement, not delay. Let this law guide every sphere of your life. In business, in study, in health, in faith, decide and act. Do not drift between alternatives like a leaf between waves. Fix your purpose, set your course, and move. The very act of decision calls unseen forces to your aid. Infinite intelligence does not waste its power upon the indecisive. It reserves its miracles for those who have already chosen. You will notice a change within you. Confidence will rise where doubt once lived. Ideas will come faster because the mind that acts invites inspiration. You will sense doors opening, people appearing, opportunities aligning, as if the universe itself were rushing to meet your courage. This is not coincidence. It is law. The world respects the man who respects his own decision. Say it again. I decide quickly and act now. Let the rhythm of it stir your blood. Let it echo through your heart until it becomes instinct. Speak it not as advice, but as identity. For once a man identifies as decisive, he no longer needs to persuade himself. He simply acts. That is how habits of greatness are born. Every great fortune was born from one decision that could not be shaken. The difference between greatness and mediocrity is not opportunity, it is speed. While others hesitate, the man of decision has already begun. While others discuss, he executes. While others fear, he advances. And when the dust of life settles, it is his footprints that mark the path forward. Decide swiftly, act immediately, and the world will bow to your definiteness. The man who moves with purpose cannot be stopped, for every power of heaven and earth rushes to assist him. Procrastination is the language of failure. Decisiveness is the dialect of kings. From this day forward, speak only the language of kings. 5. I persist until I win. There is one quality that guarantees success to any man who possesses it: persistence. Talent may sparkle for a moment and fade, genius may ignite and vanish, but persistence endures until victory is achieved. It is the sustained effort of faith, the daily march of determination, the refusal to yield though the night be long, and the reward unseen. Persistence is the heartbeat of progress. Without it, desire dies, faith falters, and dreams turn to dust. Most men fail not because they lack ability, but because they abandon their purpose too soon. They mistake temporary defeat for permanent failure. They turn back when success is but 3 steps ahead. The world is full of unfinished battles, half-built bridges, and abandoned dreams, monuments to those who could not endure the delay of victory. But the man who persists knows that every setback conceals a lesson. Every disappointment hides a doorway, and every trial refines his strength for the day of triumph. I have known men who began with great enthusiasm, blazing like torches for a season, only to vanish when the first wind of adversity blew. Enthusiasm is a flame. Persistence is the fire that feeds it. The flame may flicker, but if the coals remain, it will burn anew. You must build within yourself that inner furnace which never dies, for life will test the heat of your faith 1,000 times. Remember the story of R.U. Darby, who followed his uncle to the gold fields of Colorado. They found a vein of ore, invested their savings, and worked with fierce hope. But the vein ran out, and after days of drilling, they surrendered, selling their machinery to a junk man for a few $100s. That junk man, guided by expert advice, discovered the vein again, just 3 feet beyond where the Darbys had stopped, 3 feet from gold. The same man, having learned his lesson, later became one of the most successful insurance men in America, because he vowed never again to stop 3 feet short of fortune. Persistence is faith in motion. It is the practical expression of belief in one's purpose. When you persist, you declare to infinite intelligence that you are serious about your desire. You tell life itself, "I will not be moved." Such conviction bends events to your will. The moment you refuse to retreat, the universe begins to rearrange itself in your favor. Victory comes to those who endure longer than opposition. Repeat this affirmation with strength. No defeat can outlast my persistence. I advance until victory is certain. Let these words become the drumbeat of your life. Every morning, every night, declare them until they engrave courage upon your spirit. When fatigue whispers surrender, when results delay and fear mocks, rise and speak them again. Persistence begins where comfort ends. Edison's persistence outlived failure. He failed thousands of times before perfecting the electric light. Each failure was a step forward, each error a refinement of knowledge. He said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That is the spirit of the victor. He learned that temporary defeat is not defeat at all. It is the workshop of success. Abraham Lincoln knew this law better than any man of his time. He lost election after election, faced personal tragedy, endured ridicule and poverty, yet he persisted. Year after year, he carried his purpose like a sacred flame, and at last the nation itself bowed to his endurance. His triumph was not luck. It was faith that refused to die. Persistence is not merely endurance, it is intelligent endurance. The man who persists without learning repeats his errors. The wise man persists by adjusting his plan, but never his purpose. He may alter his methods 1,000 times, but he never alters his will to succeed. The river bends around obstacles, yet it still reaches the sea. So must you. There is a secret strength that comes from persistence. It builds character. Each time you press forward despite opposition, you forge self-respect. Each time you refuse to quit, you deepen your mastery over self. In the end, the reward is not only what you gain, but what you become. The persistent man gains riches, yes, but he also gains power, wisdom, and peace. You will discover that persistence produces opportunities invisible to the impatient. Life hides its richest rewards behind doors that open only to continuous knocking. When others grow weary, keep your hand upon the handle. When they turn away, stay 1 hour more. That hour has made kings of paupers and giants of ordinary men. Affirm again, "I persist until I win." Speak it as law. Each repetition drives fear from the mind and plants endurance in its place. The weak say, "I'll try." The strong declare, "I will." The first waits for circumstances, the second creates them. Persistence is the bridge between desire and its realization. Do not confuse slow progress with failure. The seed takes time to break the soil. Its growth is invisible long before it becomes visible. You may not see results today, but each effort moves you closer to triumph. Success often arrives disguised as exhaustion. Most men rest just before the finish line, unaware that victory was waiting one step ahead. The persistent man, too tired to think yet unwilling to stop, stumbles across it and becomes a legend. Let setbacks teach, not tame you. The man who views adversity as instruction gains wisdom from pain. The man who curses it repeats his lessons endlessly. Every trial carries a message for the one patient enough to listen. The successful do not pray for lighter burdens, they pray for stronger backs. When you feel alone in your struggle, remember this: persistence connects you to the great company of conquerors. Every man who has risen from obscurity to greatness has walked this same path. They were tempted to give up. They chose instead to endure. They were ridiculed, doubted, and misunderstood, but they continued. The spirit that animated them dwells also in you, waiting for command. You must learn to rest if weary, but never to quit. Rest restores strength. Quitting destroys faith. Even the finest machine requires oil. Even the strongest mind needs quiet. Withdraw to your silence when necessary, not to escape, but to renew your fire. Persistence is not blind motion. It is steady, purposeful advance. When failure visits, greet it as an instructor, not an enemy. Ask it, "What lesson have you brought me?" Listen closely, and it will whisper the secret that turns loss into leverage. Those who curse defeat remain students of failure forever. Those who study it become masters of success. The world may oppose you, friends may doubt you, circumstances may resist you, but none of these can stop you if you refuse to stop yourself. Persistence conquers all opposition. When life says no, say yes louder. When doors close, build another. The universe has no defense against a determined soul. Say once more, "I persist until I win." Speak it until it becomes your nature. Feel it settle deep in your heart as law. You are the man who cannot be defeated, because you will not be. You are the force that never retreats. You are the continuation of every dream that has ever lived. And when at last you stand upon the mountain of your triumph, you will know that persistence was the stairway that carried you there. The man who persists cannot be defeated. He merely delays triumph until its appointed hour. 6. Faith goes before me and opens the way. Faith is the unseen architect of all miracles. It is the silent force that prepares the road before a man's feet ever touch it. Faith is the vision of the soul when the eyes of flesh see nothing. It goes before you, shaping circumstances, arranging meetings, and guiding events that will one day appear to you as luck. Yet there is no luck, only the law of belief in motion. Faith is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It is the hand by which man commands infinite intelligence to serve him. Understand this clearly. Faith is not a timid hope or a polite wish. Faith is certainty, an inner knowing that what you ask is already granted. Hope waits, faith acts. Hope looks forward, faith walks now. Hope pleads, faith commands. The timid man hopes that things will turn in his favor. The man of faith knows they already have. That is why the world bends to him. Faith is the eternal elixir that gives life, power, and action to thought. Without it, desire becomes fantasy. With it, mountains of impossibility dissolve. You cannot see faith, yet all that you see is born of it. The building stands because someone believed in its possibility. The bridge spans the river because one man declared it could be done. The lamp burns because Edison believed that light could be drawn from darkness. Faith precedes all creation. When Thomas Edison labored in his workshop night after night, surrounded by failure, he was sustained not by sight, but by faith. He knew that within the stubborn atom lay obedience to the persistent mind. That knowledge became his guiding light. Faith told him that the law of nature would yield to the man who approached it with belief and purpose. And it did. Andrew Carnegie built his empire through the same law. He believed absolutely in his ability to attract men of talent, and that belief drew them as a magnet draws iron. His faith became their faith, his certainty their inspiration. Soon thousands labored for his vision, united by a power unseen but deeply felt, the faith of one man who refused to doubt. Repeat this command with conviction: faith walks before me, fear flees behind me. Say it as one who leads an army of unseen forces. Each repetition strengthens the truth that fear has no authority where faith reigns. Fear whispers paralysis. Faith thunders progress. Fear looks backward. Faith looks upward. Fear is death in disguise. Faith is life eternal. Faith is a spiritual magnet. It draws to you conditions harmonious with your belief. If you believe in limitation, life contracts. If you believe in abundance, life expands. The universe does not judge your request. It merely reflects your conviction. Therefore, choose to believe in greatness, and greatness will unfold before you. The man who expects defeat invites it. The man who expects victory cannot be denied it. Faith grows by repetition. It is built as muscle is built, through deliberate exercise. Speak your belief daily, even before you feel it. The tongue trains the heart trains the mind commands reality. In time, faith becomes automatic, and doubt, once loud, grows silent. You will find yourself expecting good as naturally as the fearful expect disaster. Do not argue with doubt. You cannot reason with a shadow. Replace it with declaration. When your mind says, "I am uncertain," say aloud, "Faith goes before me and opens the way." When it says, "I see no opportunity," reply, "Faith sees what I cannot, and it is leading me now." This verbal act is not superstition, it is command. Words are the tools by which faith carves destiny. Remember, faith and action are twin brothers. One is useless without the other. To believe and not move is to mock your own belief. To move without belief is to labor in vain. The man of faith acts as though his goal were already accomplished. He buys the tools, prepares the ground, writes the plan, extends his hand, because he knows the unseen hand is already working beside him. Close your eyes each morning after you affirm your sentences. Picture your success as present fact. Feel the emotion of its reality. Faith begins where imagination takes hold. The subconscious mind cannot distinguish between reality and vividly imagined conviction. It responds to both as fact. By seeing your desire accomplished, you instruct infinite intelligence to arrange the outer world accordingly. Doubt will still whisper at times, for it is the echo of past fears. Pay it no heed. It is a ghost that lives only when you feed it attention. Replace its voice instantly with declaration. Doubt says it cannot be done. Faith answers, "It is already done, and I am watching it unfold." Do this often enough, and doubt dies of neglect. All great conquerors have been men of faith. Columbus sailed not upon a map, but upon conviction. He faced storms, rebellion, and the endless unknown, yet he continued because faith whispered, "Land lies ahead." That whisper was his compass. Without it, his crew would have turned back, and the world might still have believed the horizon an end. Faith does not make things easy. It makes them inevitable. When you possess it, circumstances lose their power to intimidate you. You walk through opposition as through mist, knowing it will part before your steady step. Faith does not remove obstacles. It renders them powerless. It gives you eyes that see through barriers and feet that move over thorns unharmed. Affirm once more, "Faith walks before me, fear flees behind me." Speak it until it becomes your breath. The man who truly believes walks as though surrounded by invisible allies. Doors open in his path, people appear at his need, ideas flow without effort. He seems lucky to the ignorant, but he knows it is not luck, it is law. Faith is contagious. Surround yourself with those who believe in your vision. Avoid the mocker, the cynic, the doubter. They poison the atmosphere in which faith must breathe. A single word of ridicule can destroy a seed of belief if you allow it to take root. Protect your faith as a gardener shields a young plant from frost. Speak only with those who warm it with encouragement. Each night as you close your eyes, thank infinite intelligence for the unseen work it is performing on your behalf. Say, "I rest in faith, I wake in victory." This practice unites your conscious and subconscious minds in harmony. You will rise each morning with new ideas, renewed energy, and a sense of certainty that cannot be explained, only felt. That is faith made flesh. Remember, faith is not built in comfort. It grows strongest in trial. When all seems lost, faith proves itself. It is the light that glows brighter as darkness deepens. When fear strikes, do not curse the storm. Thank it, for it reveals the strength of your belief. Only in resistance does muscle grow. Only in adversity does faith become mastery. Let these words echo within you. Faith goes before me and opens the way. Speak them with solemn authority. Imagine faith as a radiant torch carried ahead of you, lighting the unseen road. Every time you step forward, it advances farther, illuminating the path of your destiny. Walk by that light and not by the dim candle of circumstance. Faith precedes all miracles, for it alone opens the door through which infinite intelligence may enter. Without it, you are closed to guidance, deaf to intuition, blind to opportunity. With it, you walk as one inspired, fearless, and serene, for faith does not merely believe, it knows. 7. Infinite intelligence guides my plans today. There exists a silent power that moves through all things, a living intelligence beyond the limits of man's reasoning, yet forever ready to obey his faith. I call it infinite intelligence, the source of every inspired thought, every perfect plan, every unseen assistance that carries the faithful toward achievement. To acknowledge this power is to recognize that no man creates alone. He is not an isolated spark of will, but a co-worker with the eternal mind that knows all things and orders all things through law. You are a receiving station for this infinite wisdom. When your mind is calm, when your purpose is definite, and your faith is strong, ideas arrive as messengers from that higher realm. They come as flashes of insight, sudden solutions, quiet inner assurances. To those attuned, these impulses appear natural. To those clouded by doubt, they seem miraculous. But they are the same, the whispers of infinite intelligence answering the call of a prepared mind. Edison, who transformed the world with his inventions, trusted this unseen guidance more than the counsel of men. Ideas, he said, come from somewhere outside of me. He worked not by guess, but by cooperation with that vast reservoir of thought. Luther Burbank spoke of communing with nature until the plant itself revealed its secret. These men were not superhuman, they were receptive. They learned to listen where others shouted. Each morning when I speak the words, "Infinite intelligence guides my plans today," I surrender pride and awaken power. I remind myself that wisdom already exists. My task is to align with it. The greatest mistake of man is to think he must invent truth when his highest work is to discover it. Infinite intelligence never withholds answers. It waits for silence in which to speak. Stillness is the gateway to guidance. After your morning affirmations, sit quietly for a few moments. Breathe deeply and say within, "I am listening." Then wait. Do not force, do not reason, do not analyze. Simply receive. You may sense a new idea, a forgotten duty, a sudden clarity about a decision. Record whatever arises, no matter how trivial. The smallest impulse may be the seed of destiny. Faith is the bridge between inspiration and action. You must trust the first whisper. The timid man dismisses intuition, saying, "It is only imagination." The wise man acts upon it and later calls it genius. All revelation begins as a faint suggestion. It strengthens only through obedience. When you follow inner direction, even clumsily, you prove to infinite intelligence that you are trustworthy with greater light. Consider Henry Ford's famous decision to pay his workers $5 a day. Economists called it ruinous. Competitors mocked him. Yet an inner certainty urged him onward. That foolish decision doubled productivity, built loyalty, and made history. Guidance does not always appear logical. It appears right. Logic sees the surface. Infinite intelligence sees the whole. Affirm with authority. Infinite intelligence reveals to me the next right step. I am guided perfectly. These words open channels of perception that remain closed to doubt. When confusion reigns, stop striving and speak them softly until peace replaces turmoil. For guidance comes not to the restless, but to the serene. The still mind is the loudest voice in the universe. Guard against the noise of the world. Gossip, complaint, and idle chatter fill the mind with static through which no inspiration can pass. The man who listens to every opinion shuts out the counsel of God. Withdraw daily into quiet. Even a few minutes of silence restores connection with your higher source. In that silence, infinite intelligence rearranges thoughts, straightens plans, and reveals priorities with precision. Do not pray for entire blueprints. Guidance comes step by step, never all at once. If you saw the whole road, faith would be unnecessary. The lamp at your feet is enough for the next pace. As you move, the next portion is illumined. Those who demand to know everything before acting remain forever waiting. Those who trust the first gleam find the entire path revealed in its own season. Infinite intelligence expresses itself through harmony, never through confusion. When you are guided rightly, you will feel peace, even if the decision is difficult. If agitation follows an idea, wait. If calm assurance remains, act. The mind and heart together recognize the signature of truth. Guidance speaks through both reason and intuition when they are in balance. Every plan that succeeds bears the imprint of this higher wisdom. Men take credit for foresight when they have simply been faithful to inspiration. The architect imagines a structure of beauty and strength, and infinite intelligence supplies the method, the measurements, the materials. The composer hears melody within, and infinite intelligence supplies rhythm, harmony, and form. The business builder conceives a service, and infinite intelligence arranges customers, capital, and opportunity. Always the pattern is the same: idea, faith, action, and unfolding guidance. Say again, infinite intelligence guides my plans today. Let it roll from your tongue as a decree, not a petition. You are not begging for help. You are acknowledging partnership. The moment you accept this truth, you will walk with assurance that you cannot fail, for failure exists only where separation is imagined. Do not seek to command infinite intelligence. Cooperate with it. It is wiser than your impatience, kinder than your fear, swifter than your calculation. When a plan collapses, give thanks. It may have saved you from a hidden snare. When an unexpected opportunity appears, accept it. It may be the door long prepared for your entry. Everything works together for the man who walks in conscious guidance. Throughout the day, pause briefly before each important decision and repeat, I am guided perfectly. Breathe, listen, and move. This simple act transforms chaos into order. You will feel led as if by an invisible hand. The right words will come to your tongue. The right people will cross your path. The right timing will unfold without strain. Others will call you fortunate. You will know it is obedience. The highest form of intelligence is faith joined with humility. The proud mind insists, I know. The wise mind whispers, I am taught. To be guided is not weakness. It is alignment with strength beyond measure. The wind carries the bird farther than its wings. Infinite intelligence carries the believer farther than his effort. He who obeys inner guidance walks a path prepared before sunrise. That path is sure, even when unseen. When you rise each morning and affirm, infinite intelligence guides my plans today, you enlist all the wisdom of the ages in your service. You become a living instrument of divine order, a channel through which perfection flows into action. Walk in that awareness, and every step will lead you closer to the realization of your purpose. 8. My subconscious works for me day and night. There is a power within you that never sleeps, never tires, never questions, and never forgets. It is the silent builder of your destiny, the subconscious mind. It works when you work, and it works when you rest. It is loyal beyond measure and obedient beyond comprehension. Whatever command you impress upon it with emotion and repetition, it executes with precision. It does not reason. It fulfills. It does not argue. It obeys. It is the unseen servant that weaves your thoughts into form while you dream. Your conscious mind is the watchman of the gate. Your subconscious is the workshop beyond the gate. The conscious mind chooses, the subconscious creates. Yet most men allow that gate to stand unguarded. They permit fear, doubt, and complaint to pass freely into the workshop, and then wonder why the products of their lives are misshapen and weak. Guard the entrance to your mind with discipline, for what enters it today becomes your world tomorrow. Every repetition, every statement, every emotional thought is a chisel in the hands of the subconscious. It molds your character, your health, your fortune, your relationships, everything that you call life. When you understand this, you cease to think carelessly. You become deliberate in speech, purposeful in imagination, and cautious in emotion. You learn to impress only what you wish to experience, for your subconscious will accept no jest. It takes you at your word. Andrew Carnegie once told me that long before he possessed wealth, he had trained himself to think of riches as already his. He spoke of prosperity with certainty and gratitude, as though it had already been delivered. He rehearsed success until his subconscious accepted it as fact, and then, obediently, life conspired to match it. The outer world is the mirror of the inner pattern. It must reflect what is impressed upon it. Affirm aloud, "My subconscious is my silent partner. It works ceaselessly for my success." Say it until you feel companionship with that invisible part of yourself. You are not alone. You are two minds in cooperation. The conscious mind is the commander, the subconscious the army. The commander need not lift a sword. He must only issue clear orders and believe they will be carried out. Each night before sleep, give your subconscious a definite task. State your desire clearly. Feel it as accomplished. Feel gratitude as though it were done. Then release it. Do not wrestle. Do not question. Do not interfere. The subconscious does not need your help. It needs your faith. The farmer does not dig up his seed each morning to check its progress. He trusts the soil. So must you trust your inner soil. During sleep, the conscious mind rests, but the subconscious continues its labor. It arranges ideas, draws together resources, and links you with circumstances that will reveal themselves in perfect time. Often you will wake with a sudden idea or solution, what you call intuition. That is the voice of the subconscious reporting back to its master. Treat such insights with reverence. They are the fruit of your faith. Even your body obeys this hidden law. The subconscious directs every heartbeat, every breath, every process of healing. You are sustained by it without awareness. If it can repair flesh, why should it not also repair fortune? If it can create a body from a cell, why should it not create opportunity from an idea? It knows how, for it is guided by infinite intelligence. Your duty is only to decide what and to impress it faithfully. There is no rest from creation. The mind is always working, constructively or destructively. Each night, you either plant seeds of faith or of fear. If you go to sleep worrying, your subconscious will spend the night weaving more causes for worry. If you fall asleep with confidence, it will prepare events that justify your confidence. You choose the nature of your dream, and your dream shapes your life. Many of history's great inventions and discoveries came through the subconscious. Elias Howe dreamt the design of the sewing machine needle. Kekulé saw the structure of the benzene ring in a vision. These were not accidents. They were rewards of minds disciplined to ask and then to trust. The subconscious, when properly commanded, reveals what the conscious cannot. Train yourself to converse with your inner mind as you would with a trusted friend. Speak to it in the language of certainty, not pleading. Say, "You are at work for me now." You are finding the perfect opportunity, attracting the right people, arranging the best conditions. You are my silent ally. These words, repeated nightly, will awaken forces within you that no obstacle can resist. Do not despise small beginnings. The subconscious responds to definite, repeated impressions, not dramatic emotion that vanishes in a day. Persist gently, steadily, faithfully. Over time, your new thought patterns will replace the old, and you will notice the world shifting to match them. Opportunities that once passed you by will now approach unbidden. People will seem drawn to your presence. Ideas will flow where before there was drought. This is not magic. It is law. Be careful never to impress two opposing ideas at once. If you affirm success by day but dwell in fear by night, your subconscious receives conflicting orders. It cannot serve two masters. Choose one thought, one vision, and remain faithful to it until it becomes reality. The man who changes his purpose daily must wait for eternity to serve him, for the subconscious is patient but precise. Say again, my subconscious is my silent partner. It works ceaselessly for my success. Feel the weight of those words. Imagine a vast machinery operating under your command, moving with quiet precision, turning thought into circumstance, desire into fulfillment. That machinery is within you now. It is working this very moment, building according to the plans you have drawn in thought. When you feel weary or uncertain, remember, your conscious strength may wane, but your subconscious never sleeps. It continues while you rest, producing results that seem miraculous to the unknowing. The man of faith wakes to find his prayers answered not by accident, but by obedience of law. The night is not for rest alone, it is the workshop of the soul. Give your inner worker good instructions before sleep, and it will labor faithfully while you dream. Arise each morning expecting results, and you will never be disappointed. For as surely as the dawn follows darkness, results follow right thought impressed upon the mind that never tires. Your subconscious works for you day and night. Respect it, instruct it, trust it. It is the bridge between your desire and its manifestation, the faithful servant of your will, the channel of infinite intelligence within you. Keep it employed with noble tasks, and it will build a life that honors your highest vision. 9. I keep company with a mastermind of power. No man ever rises alone. Every triumph in history has been born of harmony between minds united by a common purpose. A single mind may conceive the vision, but it requires many minds, synchronized and inspired, to make that vision a living reality. This harmony of minds I call the mastermind, a union of intelligence, faith, and enthusiasm that multiplies power beyond measure. It is the secret through which ordinary men become extraordinary and through which isolated dreams become organized miracles. When I say I keep company with a mastermind of power, I affirm more than companionship. I affirm law. For the moment, two or more minds come together in harmony. A third invisible mind, greater than the sum of the parts, is born. That invisible mind holds the genius, the courage, and the inspiration that no single man possesses alone. Infinite intelligence flows through the channel of cooperation more freely than through solitary effort. Henry Ford knew this truth and built his empire upon it. He gathered around him men who were masters in their own departments, Edison, Firestone, Burroughs, and others, and they met often, not merely to discuss machinery, but to exchange ideas charged with faith. From their unity came inventions, industries, and fortunes that changed civilization itself. Ford was not merely the head of a company. He was the center of a living mastermind that carried all its members forward together. Andrew Carnegie, when asked for the secret of his immense success, replied, "I owe it entirely to my mastermind group." He surrounded himself with men of vision and loyalty, and through their combined intelligence, he organized an industry that touched every corner of the earth. Each man contributed a fragment of genius, but the spirit that bound them, the harmony of faith and purpose, was the true architect of their success. You must therefore be deliberate in your associations. Company molds character. The weak drift into circles of mediocrity and wonder why they remain small. The wise seek minds greater than their own, spirits that lift instead of drain, companions who speak of ideas instead of gossip. To join with such souls is to multiply your strength 100-fold. To mingle with the bitter, the lazy, or the fearful is to share their fate. Choose wisely, for every conversation is an exchange of energy, every friendship a seed of destiny. Affirm aloud, I attract and maintain fellowship with strong, wise, and faithful minds. Say it each morning until it becomes reality. For thought draws its likeness, and your inner atmosphere determines your outer circle. The man who thinks abundance attracts the abundant. The man who dwells on misery attracts the miserable. As water seeks its own level, so mind seeks its own kind. If you find yourself surrounded by doubt or envy, do not despair. Begin the transformation by altering your own vibration. Speak success until you breathe success. Carry faith as a fragrance that repels the stench of fear. When your own spirit burns bright, new companions will appear by the law of attraction, drawn as moths to the flame of your confidence. The mastermind need not be vast in number. 2 souls perfectly aligned in purpose and goodwill are sufficient to move mountains. The law of harmony multiplies their influence until it surpasses the power of 1,000 divided men. Husband and wife united in faith become invincible. Business partners bound by honesty and shared vision can create wealth beyond imagination. The number matters not, the harmony does. Discord is poison to the mastermind. One word of envy, one act of selfishness, one whisper of deceit will scatter its power like ashes in the wind. Guard the spirit of harmony as the heart of the enterprise. Approach every meeting in a spirit of service. Speak encouragement, share credit, and magnify the strengths of others. In doing so, you keep open the channel through which infinite intelligence flows. Remember, harmony begins within. You cannot unite with others while at war with yourself. Resolve your inner doubts, discipline your emotions, and you will naturally draw people who mirror your peace. The man at odds with his conscience attracts conflict wherever he goes. The man at peace with himself becomes a living magnet for cooperation. In every great partnership, there is a silent current of faith that binds the whole. It is felt more than spoken. When one stumbles, another lifts him. When one doubts, another believes. When one falters, the collective strength sustains him until his courage returns. This invisible fellowship of strength is the essence of the mastermind. Even in solitude, you are never truly alone. The moment you affirm, "I keep company with a mastermind of power," you summon to your side the unseen helpers of infinite intelligence. Ideas, opportunities, and allies begin to appear from unexpected quarters. The universe itself becomes your silent partner. You will meet the right man at the right time, hear the right word at the needed hour, receive the letter, the call, the impulse that carries you forward. This is the mastermind in spiritual form. Form your circle of purpose. Select those whose character you respect, whose faith matches your own, whose aims are constructive. Meet regularly, if only to exchange encouragement. Read aloud the principles of success. Share your victories and your lessons. Out of this rhythm will arise a strength greater than any single mind could generate. The habit of mutual inspiration is a fortress against defeat. Affirm again, "I keep company with a mastermind of power." Visualize yourself surrounded by allies, seen and unseen, who support your purpose. Imagine their confidence blending with yours, their insight sharpening yours, their enthusiasm fueling yours. Feel the atmosphere of faith grow around you like a living field of energy. That feeling is real. It is the evidence of power multiplying through harmony. Never forget that even one discordant mind can weaken the chain. Therefore, forgive quickly, avoid quarrels, and release resentment at once. Anger severs connection with infinite intelligence. Harmony restores it. Whenever you feel irritation arise, repeat softly, "Peace, harmony, faith." These words act as balm upon the spirit and preserve your link to the higher power. When your circle is rightly formed and your spirit kept pure, you will notice miracles of timing. Ideas will appear simultaneously in several minds. Solutions will unfold as if whispered by the same unseen voice. Confidence will grow and fear will vanish. The mastermind transforms ordinary men into titans because it unites their thought under one definite aim and joins them to the source of infinite wisdom. Say once more with solemn conviction, I keep company with a mastermind of power. Know that by these words you align yourself with the eternal fellowship of success, the brotherhood of those who have mastered themselves and cooperate with law. Every great enterprise on earth is born of this union. It is the ladder upon which humanity climbs. When you claim your place upon it, you step out of isolation into the communion of power. You are not alone. You are a member of the mastermind, whether in flesh or in spirit, and its strength flows through you. Walk in that awareness, and the very heavens will conspire to uphold your purpose. 10. I am the master of my fate, the captain of my soul. There comes a moment in every man's life when he must stand before himself and decide whether he will live as creator or as creature. That moment is the birth of mastery. It is when a man claims ownership of his thoughts, his emotions, his choices, and therefore his destiny. Until he does, he remains a puppet of circumstance, a leaf blown by winds of other men's opinions, his days shaped by the strength or weakness of those around him. But the moment he declares with conviction, I am the master of my fate, the captain of my soul, he rises into the dignity of dominion for which he was born. Freedom does not begin in governments or laws, it begins in thought. Every chain that binds a man is forged first in his own mind. The man who says, I cannot, places shackles upon himself stronger than iron. The man who says, I will, melts those shackles in the fire of faith. You are not a creature of accidents. You are a creature of decisions. Life is not what happens to you. It is what you make happen through thought and action guided by purpose. This truth, once understood, is the end of fear. The coward waits for better days, the master creates them. The coward curses fate, the master commands it. The coward prays for less challenge, the master prays for greater strength. Every circumstance bends to the man who knows his authority over it. He does not beg life for mercy. He instructs it in the language of definiteness. Abraham Lincoln bore the weight of a nation torn in two. He was slandered, betrayed, and burdened with responsibility that would have crushed lesser men. Yet he never blamed others, never surrendered to despair. He stood each day with the quiet strength of one who knew his duty, and he fulfilled it until his last breath. He was the captain of his soul. He steered through the storm not because the sea was calm, but because his will was unshakable. Henry Ford, too, was master of himself. When the press mocked his education, when financiers refused his vision, when his factories burned, he simply said, we shall rebuild. He neither cursed nor complained. He acted. His mastery of emotion and decision made him one of the most powerful men in history, not because of machinery or money, but because of mind. He believed that no circumstance could dictate to a determined soul. Affirm now, I take full command of my destiny. No circumstance has power over me. Say it until you feel the truth of it in your bones. For indeed, nothing external holds authority unless you grant it. Poverty is not a sentence. It is a condition awaiting change. Failure is not identity. It is instruction. Every adversity bows before the man who refuses to bow to it. To master fate is to master self. You must govern your thoughts as a ruler governs his kingdom. If rebellion arises, anger, doubt, laziness, you must meet it with the firmness of command. No man can serve two masters within himself. Either your mind rules your body, or your body rules your mind. Either faith governs fear, or fear governs faith. Choose this day whom you will serve, for your decision will decide your destiny. When I speak of mastery, I speak not of arrogance, but of responsibility. The master of fate does not claim control over others. He claims control over himself. He understands that every thought is a cause and every effect is his own. He neither blames nor excuses. He thanks even adversity, for it strengthens his will. He sees himself not as victim of life, but as steward of divine law. Write this line upon your mirror: I am the master of my fate, the captain of my soul. Read it morning and night until it becomes your reflection. Every time you see your face, see also your authority. Let the world hurl its storms. You will steer through them. Let men doubt you. You will proceed. For your direction is inwardly set, and no external tide can change it. Beware the great enemy of mastery, self-pity. It is the most subtle form of surrender. It whispers that you have been treated unfairly, that fate is cruel, that others are to blame. The moment you indulge it, you hand over your crown. No master indulges weakness. He feels pain but does not live in it. He faces defeat but never calls himself defeated. The strongest souls are those who have wept and risen, fallen and stood, failed and tried again. The devil's greatest lie is victimhood, the notion that man is powerless before events. It is this lie that keeps multitudes drifting, praying for deliverance while neglecting to deliver themselves. But the awakened man knows better. He says, I am the cause of my world. If I wish it to change, I must first change me. That sentence ends all slavery of spirit. When you accept total responsibility for your condition, you gain total power to change it. Responsibility is not burden, it is liberty. For once you know that you alone steer your ship, you need never fear the winds again. The seas of life obey those who sail with purpose. Every blow of fate becomes a gust filling your sails, driving you faster toward the shore of your desire. Say again, I am the master of my fate, the captain of my soul. Speak it slowly as a vow. Let each word carve itself into your consciousness. Imagine standing upon the deck of your life, the storms of circumstance raging about you, yet you at peace, hand firm upon the wheel. The lightning may flash, the waves may roar, but you remain unmoved. That is mastery. True mastery begins with mastery of thought, extends to mastery of word, and ends in mastery of action. Guard your thoughts, let none of weakness linger. Guard your words, speak only those that command victory. Guard your actions, let each one express your belief in dominion. In this way you shape not only your day, but your eternity. When you walk among men who complain, remember they are prisoners of their own lips. When you stand before those who envy, remember they are slaves to comparison. When you face those who fear, remember they have forgotten who they are. Do not join their lament. Instead, stand silently, confidently, knowing that you are master of yourself and therefore free. Affirm once more, I am the master of my fate, the captain of my soul. Carry it into your labor, your speech, your prayer. Let it remind you that power was never elsewhere. It was always within you. The world bows to the man who bows first to no circumstance. When man commands himself, all lesser forces obey. The hour has come to seal this truth in the heart. You are not the plaything of fate. You are fate's author. The pen is in your hand, the page before you blank, the ink of decision flowing. Write boldly, write wisely, write your own destiny. For from this moment you shall never again say, life happens to me. You shall say, I happen to life. 11. The 11th sentence, the secret of identity. The 10th sentence made you master of fate, captain of soul, sovereign of circumstance. Yet there remains one more power, the greatest of all, the power to define who you are. Every other command you have spoken flows from this one truth, for no man can act beyond the limits of the image he holds of himself. If he sees himself small, no fortune will enlarge him. If he sees himself weak, no crown will strengthen him. But if he sees himself as a being of purpose, intelligence, and divine authority, the world must confirm that vision. The 11th sentence cannot be given. It must be created. It must be written by your own hand, for no man can lend you his identity. I can show you the law, but I cannot name your role within it. That privilege belongs to you alone. The first 10 sentences have built the structure. The 11th sets the cornerstone. It is the word that defines the builder, the declaration that gives meaning to every other command you speak. Sit with this truth. Every great man in history wrote his own 11th sentence. Thomas Edison might have said, "I am the bringer of light." Andrew Carnegie, "I am the builder of men." Abraham Lincoln, "I am the keeper of unity." Each man lived by the pattern of his declaration. Each thought, word, and act aligned with it. And because they were faithful to their own identity, infinite intelligence arranged their lives in harmony with their definition. Therefore, I ask you, who are you? Not what others have called you. Not what fear has whispered. Not what failure has suggested. Who are you truly? What is the sentence that names your purpose? Until you decide this, all other affirmations are borrowed garments. You may speak of faith, persistence, and power, but they will remain tools lying idle until you know the builder's name. Write a single line beginning with these words, "I am." Follow it with the highest truth you can conceive about yourself. Let it burn with sincerity. Let it feel like a vow. This is not a wish, it is identity. Do not write timidly. Say not, "I am trying to become strong." Say, "I am strength itself." Do not say, "I hope to be prosperous." Say, "I am prosperity in motion." The subconscious accepts only the definite. It molds you not according to what you want, but according to what you declare yourself to be. When you name yourself, you begin to live consciously. You become the sculptor of your own character. Your speech, habits, posture, and presence will begin to conform to the image you have claimed. The world, seeing your certainty, will treat you according to it. Life never argues with a man who knows who he is. Affirm this timeless law. I am he who decides and becomes. These words are the essence of creation. All progress, all transformation, all genius arises from this principle. You are not what you have done. You are what you decide to do now. The past is dust beneath the feet of identity. The present is the field upon which you write your sentence with the plow of will. Understand the mystery of this law. Infinite intelligence can only work through a definite pattern. It cannot create around vagueness. Your 11th sentence is that pattern. It is the mold through which the unseen power flows into visible form. If you do not choose the pattern, life will choose it for you, and you will live by the designs of others. To live without self-definition is to be the clay, not the potter. This is why most men drift. They never define themselves. They are defined by circumstance. They wake each day reacting to the commands of other minds. They serve ideas they did not create, chase goals they do not desire, speak words that are not their own. Such men are actors in another's play, not authors of their own script. But the moment you declare your identity, the play changes. You become the writer, the director, the protagonist of destiny. Do not fear to claim greatness. The world will call you proud. Let it. False humility is the graveyard of purpose. True humility is obedience to truth. If you are indeed the image of the infinite, then to call yourself small is blasphemy. Greatness is not arrogance, it is alignment. When you declare yourself a vessel of power and purpose, you do not inflate the ego. You awaken the soul. Speak this new sentence each morning beside the 10 that have come before it. Let it crown them as the king crowns his soldiers. Feel it carve its identity into your being until your voice and your belief are one. You will notice that decisions become easier, opportunities clearer, obstacles smaller. For the man who knows who he is no longer wrestles with uncertainty. He acts from principle, not reaction. Your 11th sentence is the key to every locked door. It saves you 10, 20, even 30 years of wasted wandering. For most men spend half their lives trying to discover what they are meant to be. But the wise man decides first and then becomes it. He does not wait for revelation, he commands it. His declaration acts as magnet to destiny, drawing to him every tool, ally, and event required for its fulfillment. When you begin to live by your own definition, you will meet opposition. The world resists the man who refuses its labels, but stand firm. Each challenge is proof that you have begun to create. Even resistance serves you, for it strengthens your will. The sculptor must strike the stone to reveal the form within. So does life strike the man who dares to define himself. Endure the blows, they are the instruments of revelation. Carry your 11th sentence as a torch. Let it light every decision, every ambition, every word you speak. When temptation to drift appears, repeat it. When fear whispers, repeat it. When fatigue dulls your spirit, repeat it. It is your compass through the fog of uncertainty, your password at the gates of opportunity, your anchor in the storm. Say it until it becomes instinct. Say it until it breathes through you even in silence. In time, you will realize that your sentence was never merely words, it was a covenant. Infinite intelligence heard it when you spoke, and from that moment began to align all things to its fulfillment. You will look back and marvel at how people appeared, ideas flowed, and doors opened exactly when needed. It will seem miraculous, but it is only the obedience of law to definiteness. Do not rush to finish this journey. The creation of identity is sacred work. Write your sentence with care. Read it daily. Refine it only through revelation, never through doubt. Live as though it were already accomplished. For as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Speak it, believe it, act it, and you will become it. Now you stand at the end of these 11 sentences, but understand this. The end of this is also the beginning. You have not completed a ritual, you have opened a life. These sentences are the architecture of consciousness, the daily commands by which the invisible becomes visible. Read them each morning until they read themselves through you. For mastery is not reached in a moment, but in repetition, faithful, rhythmic, persistent repetition. As you continue this practice, you will find miracles not as interruptions of law, but as its natural expression. Opportunities will seem to chase you. The right people will recognize your voice before you speak. Peace will replace struggle. Certainty will replace doubt, and purpose will replace confusion. And when men ask how you change so greatly, you may smile and say, I learned to command my morning. I learned to command my mind. I learned to speak the language of creation. And now, let this final affirmation seal the work within you. I am he who decides and becomes. I am the master of my thoughts, the captain of my faith, the builder of my destiny. I speak, and life obeys. I believe, and infinite intelligence responds. I act, and the law of success unfolds before me. I am one with power, purpose, and peace. This is who I am, and so shall I remain. Read these sentences each morning until they no longer feel like words, but like breath, for as you speak, so shall you become.